Welcome to video number 6 of the step-by-step series about modeling a bond wire layout for a power module using MFis wire. In the last video we just created the bond wire layout and now we have it ready to be exported. I will show you how to export it and prepare it for that you can use it within your CAD system. You see here the geometry from our last video. You can also load the geometry directly from a file you find on our web page. So we have here the blue power wires and the green control wires and the power module geometry here. The easiest we can do is just export everything. So this we do by using save as. And by default it will save in Rhino format, so this one, and we have just to change it to a format we can read in the other CAD system or in your simulation software. So I typically use the step file format. I give the file a name, exported geometry. Then we can choose some options. There is an older file format version, for instance. This will not export colors and not the layer association. And the standard version is this one, which exports both the colors and the layers. Okay, it's already exported. Let's now have a look at the file. Here I open it in Rhino from Windows Explorer. I just use the default import options. And everything is there. So the main difference is that these objects are now normal geometry objects and you cannot modify these objects anymore using MFis wire. If you move this definition object, the 3D object here will not follow. Let's go back to the initial file here. So in your CAD system there is probably already all the geometry there except the wires. So you want to just load the wires into your CAD systems, So we have to use the command export selected to just export the wires, but we cannot select the wires at the moment. That's why, because we have the wires in layers which are locked. You see this layer and this layer, so we have to unlock these two layers. And now we can right click here and click select objects, and right click here, select objects, and now you can export selected. Okay, this is exported wires. Okay, now we are done. These are exported and you can import the wires into your CAD system. Now, when we have a look at the geometry of these wires, the wires, they penetrate the substrate here. If we go to ghosted view, for instance, and you can look inside, you see the wire penetrates the substrate metallization, and also on the chip. This is not what we like to have typically. Oh yeah, just for visualization doesn't matter, but you might to get rid of this overlap, and we do this now. So by default these layers are locked, and again we set it back to the default. These layers are locked, so these objects are handled by MFis wire. So in order to modify these objects, we first create copies which are independent of MFis wire. There is this create unlinked wire polysurface objects command. We just select this, and then we can select the wire definition objects. We just select all by Ctrl A and press the enter key. and now there are duplicates of the wire created. These are created in these layers: wire polyserve unlinked, and wire polyserve is unlinked here on the control wires and on the power wires. So I move one of these layers up here, I rename it to just wires, and I deselect now all objects by clicking somewhere here. I select the objects in this layer and also change the objects to this wires layer. Change object layer. Okay, and this layer doesn't have any objects anymore in, I just delete it. Okay, now we see some wires are blue, some are gray, because the initial wires are still displayed. I now change the active layer to the new wires layer. I also move the layer down to the end, and the initial wires I turn off, and now we see only the independent wires, which we can now modify. So now we use the boolean difference command. Easiest to find is by just typing bool, and you already see a completion boolean difference, or we can click here. And now we have to select surface or polysurface to subtract from. So we want to select all wires, select objects. Okay, press enter. And now select surfaces or polysurfaces to subtract with. So we want select the substrate metallization. This doesn't work because it is in a locked layer. So we find the top metal layer, this one here, and just unlock it. And also the chip we want to use to subtract with. So this chips layer, also this one, I unlock it. And now I can just select everything which is selectable by pressing Ctrl A. So this selects substrate, metal and chip, and press enter. And boolean difference in progress, and you can read that there is no error message, so it has worked. So sometimes it doesn't work, then there is some error message, and you might try just do the boolean operation step by step, just first subtracting maybe only this metallization from the wires, and later this chip, and so on. So in step by step works sometimes better, but it has now worked perfectly. So let's have a look at it. Okay, you see all these bond feet are cut. Also on the chip, it looks very nice. Okay, now we can just select these objects, select objects, and export selected, and we might name it exported wires boolean. Okay, we are done. Now you can use it within your CAD system or within your simulation software, and there are more videos coming. Stay tuned.